question about just the role that the rapper plays when discussing the drug culture in hip hop. When I was coming up, the archetype was the rapper as the entrepreneurial drug dealer, the businessman who was doing this because there weren't very many other options for him or her growing up where they grew up. It seems like now the culture's changed a little bit, and those rappers are a little bit more now on the addict side of things. They've become users. Where do you feel like that change came in, and how do you feel like that adjusts people's expectations of what they're getting out of the music and out of the culture itself?
Well, I've been kind of out of the loop, so I got to be fair, with my assessment of what's going on with this generation. I haven't listened to music in 15 years, but I can say, to your point, when we came into the business, we were those entrepreneurial guys from the street who had escaped that reality, and we were trying to paint pictures of a more better life. We were trying to paint pictures of an escape from the harsh realities of the streets. And that always kind of been the motivation behind music. But I think that somewhere down the line, all of these, objectives and goals just got reversed to where the violence is really what I see. I don't have to hear the music to see the result of what's going on. It's like more rappers are getting killed.
Now, let me ask you this, though. I want to, before we move on that, let me get some clarification. When you mean you haven't heard music in 15 years, what does that mean?
I tolerate it when I'm in like barbershops, public places
Yeah.
where I can't control it. But me, myself, I haven't pressed play in 15 years.
Wow.
I don't listen to music at all.
Tap into that a moment, because
Yeah.
I think people to get something out of that. Why is that? It's obviously everywhere. So that's why I wanted to kind of pause and back up. Tell me what in your spirit that says, why you have not pushed play. There has to be a story behind that. Tell us a little bit about that.
There's two things. I mean, music in Islam is not permissible. You know what I'm saying? Even though you may have some Muslims who still struggle with music. But for me, it wasn't that difficult for me to abstain from. Secondly, for me, it's all inclusive. It's not something that I can just extract and leave off all the experiences, the lifestyle, and everything connected to it. So for me being a type of person that never really straddled, anything that I do, I'm all in. I just, feel like if we're going to grow, as individuals and as a people, it starts with those individual efforts. And there's a certain level of discipline that I think it takes to abstain from certain vices and certain things that we normalize, even though there's some level of toxicity, included in those things. So for me, in my individual journey, I found, a complete escape. And any remnants of that past lifestyle, I try to, safeguard myself from falling back into it.
So we're gonna get off this and move on, but I just gotta, I'm assuming you work out. When you work out, you just listen to your thoughts. It's just you and serenity counting 1, 2.
Pretty much.
Damn, Loon, you the man, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
You really are.
But there's a significant amount of pain that exists here. Just for me personally, I look at it as sort of a contradiction with the government making as much money off weed right now. It seems almost like it's just another thing for us to be poor at. But the only difference here is that we seem like the test cases to like how many people you could put in jail for this. So, we do. It seemed like we were the test cases to how many people you can lock up for this. And then once we figured out that now it's legal, everybody gets rich and we're not a part of it. And what I would ask you is there something that you could think of? My brother Killer Mike has said before that he thinks that part of reparations should be giving black people preferential treatment in the cannabis industry. Can you think of outreach? Can you think of anything that would be within the parameters of what you guys could do to specifically address this need?
We have to be, when it comes to just outreach, right, explicitly targeting Black communities, right? Especially when we have the data that shows the arrest rates that have been disproportionately impacting Black community members. We need to be in those community members telling them about the industry itself, because the last thing I would want to see is, especially in places like Newark, Trenton, or Camden, which are the heavy Black parts of the state of New Jersey, is that people don't even know that this is happening. And suddenly you have all these cannabis businesses pop up in their city and they're like, what the heck just happened? Why wasn't I involved? Why wasn't I had a marijuana arrest? Like, why wasn't I? That's the last thing I want to do. And so we have to be explicitly intentional about the outreach. We have to be explicitly intentional about the education information, but we also have to be explicitly intentional about the potential success, but the major pitfalls that are right there for anyone to fall into. And we do not want to bring Black people into this to fail again and only be left destitute all over again. That's not what should be happening. It's frustrating to me to see, and like you had mentioned this, Tez, is that especially when a state, before it legalizes for adult use, you start to see a lot of outreach and education about, hey, let's legalize weed. Everyone's going to win. We're all going to win. And that doesn't turn out to be